July 6th of 2018 sees the release of Ant-Man and the Wasp, the sequel to 2015's Ant-Man, again directed by Peyton Reed. I've seen the movie already, so in this review, which will only contain but the very mildest of spoilers, I will first let you know how big a fan I am of the comics, what I thought about the first movie, how excited I was for this one going in, and finally, my overall impression of Ant-Man and the Wasp. As many of you know, I am a comic book fan, and from a relatively early age, I was reared on Marvel comics. The ones that were released in my neck of the woods, that is, which compared to all released in the US, was a pretty narrow selection, one which didn't include Ant-Man. My first exposure to the character was actually to wife-beater Pym in The Ultimates, which I know is a far cry from Ant-Man in the 616 comics, but that is actually just about the only Ant-Man I've ever read, so I went into the original 2015 movie knowing pretty much nothing about the character. With all of the production trouble Ant-Man had, what with Edgar Wright leaving and all, I went into Peyton Reed's Ant-Man expecting the worst, and came out positively surprised by what a fun ride it had been. Loved the shrinking gimmick, loved the cast, loved Thomas the Tank Engine, only wished they would have done more out of these subatomic scenes. But overall, coming out of the cinema back in 2015, I was ready for more Ant-Man. In the 3 years since though, Ant-Man hasn't had that big a presence in the MCU, outside of being locked up in Captain America Civil War, that is. Any hype I had for more Ant-Man after seeing the original has kind of died down in the years since. Following Avengers Infinity War, which this movie by the way takes place prior to, going back to Ant-Man and the Wasp seems kind of unimportant. The movie may be just what the audience needs, but I at least went in not at all that excited. So, did it win me over? I thought the movie was fine, no more, no less. The cast were good, and the movie has a lot of fun in it. But what was not so fun was the story itself and the pacing issues, both of which I thought detracted from the movie. Going in, I wanted more of the quantum realm, and I got that, but I really didn't love how it was handled. The visual aspect of it was fine, to be sure. It was the other, a little bit too convenient aspects of it I had issue with. I don't know how that compares to the comic, but within the context of the movie, I thought there was a little bit too much of, I don't know, magic mumbo-jumbo, if you will, associated with the quantum realm. Also, Marvel's villain problem is back in full force, as the movie's primary foe, Ghost, in my opinion was the most forgettable villain this side of what's-his-name from Thor the Dark World. And the secondary villain, played by Walton Goggins, who just so happens to be one of my favorite actors, was even more painfully underused than Mads Mikkelsen was in Doctor Strange. I mean, what's the point in hiring talent like that, if you're gonna waste them on roles like this? But that is not to say all was bad. The undisputed highlight of the movie for me was the mid-credit scene. Now that freaking ruled. Overall, there is a lot of good in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but I honestly consider it among the weaker installments of the MCU. To be fair though, I do believe my opinion might have been colored by the timing of the movie's release. If it had been released before Avengers Infinity War, I think I might have enjoyed it more. Just like the previous movie, which concluded Phase 2 of the MCU, felt like a Phase 1 movie. This movie, released after Infinity War, feels like a Phase 2 movie, like something is misaligned. At times, that made the whole movie feel like a chore to get through, before the Infinity Gauntlet storyline can resume. Anyway, that was my opinion. Now do tell me yours in the comments.
If you like this video, then please click the subscribe button. And don't forget to click the bell icon to be notified for all the latest uploaded content. Due to recent changes to YouTube's monetization policies, we'd also like to ask you to please consider supporting Midnight's Edge and its sister channel Midnight's Edge After Dark through Patreon. As thanks for their support, patrons will receive early notifications of mini-documentaries, special behind-the-scenes making of the Edge videos, bloopers, outtakes, lost episodes, and more. You can support the channel for as little as $1 a month. Be sure to check back for news and analysis on the corporate politics behind your favorite genre movies, as well as updates and discussion here at Midnight's Edge.